Up on Valley News Live at 6:30, we'll break down what's at stake across the state and in our communities for the Minnesota primary election. Plus, what equipment and training Fargo police are receiving to help combat child trafficking. And we hear from North Dakota and Minnesota officials on the beginning of the biggest part of the FM diversion. Valley News Live at 6:30 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6:30.
We begin with breaking news as the Fargo School Board continues to wrestle over the Pledge of Allegiance. We're not talking about it being said by students at the start of school each day. This has to do with whether it's being recited at the beginning of board meetings. Tonight it was, and after that, people expressed their opinions.
I love the words to the Pledge of Allegiance, and if you guys want to stand again, we can say it again. I pledge allegiance to the flag right there behind you, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. I just can't believe we're here. I cannot believe we're here talking about this.
Now, this goes back to February when a move to have it said at meetings died for a lack of a second motion. The matter would work its way back to a March meeting where it passed, returning it to part of the board meetings. However, as we said, action to rescind the move surfaced again on tonight's agenda and is being discussed as we speak. We'll tell you what was decided tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10. Residents across the state are casting their vote for the Minnesota primary election today, but for some parts of the state, there's more to choose from than senators and representatives. We go now live to Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor for more on what's at stake in the town of Crookston. Nishay?
Courtney, residents are voting to answer the question of whether the Crookston School District's proposed referendum for the construction of a multi-use facility should be approved. Now, most people I spoke with this afternoon declined to comment on camera, but they stated that they were excited for the possibility of progression within the city. But there was some opposition. Now, I saw a car riding around town that had the words "Vote No for the $4 million tax" written on its windows. But if Crookston voters approve the referendum, it would authorize the district to spend nearly $4 million to build that multi-use facility. And if the referendum passes, that means property taxes could increase for Crookston residents starting as soon as next year. Now, the polls remain open. We have less than 90 minutes until we get those final results. Now, stay with us on Valley News Live as we have those updated results for you later tonight. In Crookston, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
All right, Nishay, thanks so much. Meanwhile, there's still decisions to make across the state for determining who will make it to the ballot come the November elections. Valley News Team's Justin Betty joining us now for a breakdown of some of the local races. Justin.
All right, thanks, Courtney. A lot of formalities, but there are a few big races on the ballot in Minnesota's 7th Congressional District, which is most of the western side of the state. Republican Michelle Fischbach is the incumbent. She's already into the general election. However, on the DFL side, there is a race between Sauk Center Herald columnist Jill Abazane and Natural Food Co-op organizer Alicia Gruenhagen. Meanwhile, in State Senate District 4, which includes both Moorhead and Detroit Lakes, Rob Kupek is through on the Democratic side, but the Republican side features a race between former Moorhead City Council member Dan Bomer, who won the endorsement at the state convention, and Edwin Hahn, a former Clay County Republican chair who was removed from that seat earlier this year. The big statewide race is which GOP candidate for Attorney General. There are two options. Will move on to face incumbent Keith Ellison, the Democrat, in November. And of course, we'll be following all the races for you throughout the night. Courtney.
Justin, thanks so much. And keep in mind that you can stay up to date on the elections on our website or on our VNL News app. You can download it and use it for free. Just search VNL News in the App Store today. We're going to go to Nathan now for a first look at our weather. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, Courtney, happy Tuesday, everybody. 6:35 on this Tuesday evening, and boy, beautiful out there. A few clouds we're seeing wafting across our Corwin Auto Tower cam, but really by and large for your Tuesday evening plans, I'm going to say all systems go. Things are nice. We're warm, though, in the Southern Valley, especially 87 at current temperature in Fargo, but 88 in Aberdeen and Sisseton, 86 there for our friends in Fergus Falls, rather. Thief River Falls, up in the cooler air that's behind a cool front. Upper 70s there up toward the Thief River area, and then mid 70s up along the Canadian border. So a cool front that is pushing its way southward is bringing a few of those clouds that we're seeing right now, but not really anything else. A bit of a wind shift to a northerly direction that will bring that cooler air in. But by and large for this evening, just that north wind behind this cool front. Clear skies persist. High pressure is still in charge. Look at those temperatures by morning. Low 60s for us in the Southern Valley. Windows open kind of night once that north wind kicks in. Of course, Courtney, the cool front brings some changes for us tomorrow. We'll break down that forecast in a few minutes.
All right, thanks. Looking forward to it. The woman accused of holding up a small-town North Dakota bank last July reached a deal with prosecutors and pled guilty in the case. 44-year-old Tessa Ann Marie Jacksaw is charged in federal court with 1 count of bank robbery after officers say she drove off with more than $7,000 from a Windermere bank. Federal documents say Jacksaw walked into the Lincoln State Bank on July 19, 2021 and told the teller, "I have a gun and I want all the money." In recent court filings, prosecutors state Jacksaw has demonstrated a genuine acceptance of responsibility and asked the court to sentence Jacksaw to between 51 and 63 months in prison, as well as pay restitution to Lincoln State Bank. 5 to 7 Fargo police detectives will soon undergo specialty training to be experts in downloading data off phones, all in an effort to put a stop to sex trafficking and the exploitation of children and to put those responsible behind bars. It's a story we first told you about last night when the city of Fargo accepted a more than $30,000 donation from Operation Underground Railroad, which will help pay for the training of Fargo's officers as well as a 1-year subscription to important software. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with police today about why this is needed and how the training will help impact the community.
Fargo Police currently only has 3 people who are trained in cell phone forensics, meaning whether it's a robbery, homicide, or a child exploitation case, those 3 people are hard at work, downloading large amounts of data and then poring over it in hopes of helping prosecutors to a conviction.
You know, one of our previous cases with a robbery suspect had, 110,000 data points in terms of locations. So to try and get through all that can take some time.
Which is why the department asked for help from Operation Underground Railroad, which will fund more technology and the training of 5 to 7 more people to help tackle the workload.
We download a lot of cell phones, and then we don't have a whole lot of people to review the data. So this training will really take care of our agency needs.
The California nonprofit group specifically aims to fight sex crimes against children, something Fargo Police wants too, saying unfortunately those types of cases come across their desk too often.
They're very sad.
Matheson says the additional technology and trained staff will not only make investigations more efficient, but will also hopefully expedite the investigation process so the wheels of justice turn just a bit faster. Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Fargo police say the new training should take place either late this year or early next year. Monkeypox was declared a public health emergency last week. Only 2 cases have been reported in North Dakota so far. Out-of-state travel was determined to be the source in 1 case, and the other is still being investigated. There are 275 doses of the monkeypox vaccine available in the state. With such limited numbers of vaccines, the state is working with local healthcare providers to distribute to people who are at high risk.
The risk is low for the general public, really, here. We have a subpopulation of our public that has been disproportionately impacted by this. The idea here is that that's where we need to be targeting our resources right now.
There have been 50 doses of the monkeypox vaccine given out in the state so far. Grand Forks Public Health is now offering the vaccine for monkeypox. However, due to limited quantities, they are limiting those vaccines to those who are in the high-risk categories. That includes people who have had close contact with someone who has been diagnosed with monkeypox and men who have sex with men if they meet one of the following criteria: have had sex multiple partners in the last 14 days, attended venues or events where monkeypox spread has been identified, have had a sexually transmitted infection in the past year. If you meet the criteria, they recommend making an appointment. It's a 2-dose vaccine licensed by the FDA. People who get their vaccine at Grand Forks Public Health will have a second dose reserved for them. Later on Valley News Live at 6:30, we hear from Governor Burgum from today's groundbreaking from the FM's flood protection.
And although we're tracking changes behind today's cool front, I'm saying your poolcast still looking pretty fine out there. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, low 80s, but that won't stop those pool goers from enjoying some fresh water. Let's break down that full forecast after the break.